and security. Labour Party supporters storm party secretariat in Abuja. Peter Obi speaks on Nigeria's survival, not on 2027 elections. A new pro-Fubara commissioners sworn in. Details now. The world news begins with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, which has been agitating for improved funding of the education sector and better welfare for its members, may be well on track to initiate a national strike with their 14-day ultimatum ending on Sunday. VOP News gathered that the union members at the University of Jos protested today, urging the federal government to act swiftly to prevent the impending industrial action. The second semester exams at UniJust were disrupted today when a protest began around 11 a.m. as union members marched and sang solidarity songs throughout the university community. The protesters carried placards with different inscriptions, some of which read, "Let us members breathe," "Pay our promotion arrears," "Adequate funding of universities," "Is that hard?" and "ASU strike now." Following their protest, a group assembled at the University Senate building where they were received by the university's senior management team, which included the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tanko Ishaya, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Joash Amupita, and the Registrar, Dr. Rejoice Songden. The university's ASU Vice Chairman, Professor Kiri Jariom, who spearheaded the protest, informed the Vice Chancellor that his members had endured ample suffering and maltreatment by the federal government. Elsewhere, the Department of State Service has disclosed that the Federal Capital Territory has recorded improved security 1 year after President Bola Tinubu's administration took over. The director of the department of the FCT administration, Adamu Gwari, made the disclosure in an interview with newsmen today. Gwari explained that he was impressed with the performance of the Tinubu-led administration and security in the FCT, adding that there have been reduced incidents of security breaches. According to him, the security situation has significantly improved since Nyesom Wike assumed office as the FCT minister in August 2023. The security outfit said the administration had completely eradicated the issue of manhood theft in the territory. He said, unquote, "We receive not only a situational report from security agencies, but from members of the public. In the past, it used to be a daily affair where you will hear there are these issues, there are those issues here and there within the city, the environs and the suburbs of the FCT. But today, sometimes a whole week will pass without any report." End quote. In politics, demonstrators originating from the 6 area councils have besieged the National Secretariat of the Labour Party in Abuja. While there was no official explanation behind the event, the individuals were seen displaying banners, music and chants from various cultural groups symbolizing different ethnicities. Inscription on their banners indicates that the demonstration is in solidarity with the party's national chairman, Comrade Julius Aburi. While that development continues, we'll give you more update right here on VOP 90.3 FM. Meanwhile, the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi emphasized that every Nigerian, regardless of social or political standing, should focus on navigating the prevailing economic hardship rather than obsessing over the next electoral cycle. While addressing his supporters at the Labour Party's National Secretariat in Abuja, Mr. Obi criticized the tendency of some politicians to shift focus to elections immediately after one ends, neglecting the more pressing issues of welfare and security of the citizens. This statement comes at a time when many Nigerians are grappling with significant economic challenges, including rising prices and unemployment, which have been exacerbated by global economic pressures and local policy decisions. The event's high turnout underscores deep support for Mr. Obi's message of prioritizing governance over politics. This stance has defined his political career and continues to attract a diverse following across the country. While in Rivers State, the faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly led by Victor Okojumbo has successfully screened and confirmed 8 commissioner designates. Governor Similai Fubara sent the names for screening to fill the gap created by the former pro-Wike commissioners who resigned last week. During the screening process by the Okojumbo-led assembly, the commissioner designates expressed their commitment to leverage their experience to elevate Governor Fubara's administration. Leader of the Oko-Jimbo-led Rivers State Assembly, Sokari Goodboy Sokari, during the debate on the screening, urged the House to confirm the nominees, citing their extensive service in various capacities within the state. His motion for the closure of the debate was seconded by Adolphus Orubineha, leading to a unanimous confirmation by members. Meanwhile, civil society organization led by Gabriel Mwambu, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, warned Fubara to watch his back and advises against a panel of inquiry set up to investigate Nyesom Wike's tenure. Let's take a listen to him.
In Nigeria, we operate a constitutional democracy. And in constitutional democracy, there is separation of powers. The principle of separation of power, forbids even the executive arm of government to barge into the legislative arm, uninvited. I want to state very clearly that the governor of Rivers State, came in to the legislative chambers uninvited. He came in with thugs who jumped into the state assembly, broke the keys and made ways, now cut all the chains there to open the gate for the governor to come in. What kind of government is that? We are saying that in all decency, what the governor ought to have done was to write the legislative chamber, that he wants to come to the state assembly, which is the right channel and the right thing to do, not to bandit thugs who will jump in and break the gate. And again, recall that this state assembly we are talking about was just built 2 years ago. So what is informing the demolition? We are worried about the happenings in Rivers State. We are worried because we are a coalition of civil society organizations that is embedded in good governance and the rule of law. What is the rule of law? We are saying that it has to be the supremacy and predominance of the law in any given state of society. But what we are seeing in Rivers State, in the mildest possible term, is not synonymous with modern democracy. We are seeing a situation where the governor of Rivers State is spending money outside appropriation. Where is it done? Who does that? We are seeing a situation in Rivers State where the governor, withhold council funds for several months. Then the governor suddenly, last week or so, decided to pay a few persons, directly, negating the constitutional allowed authorities, provided authorities that ought to have paid. Rivers State government has elected local government chairman. So who authorized him to pay directly? Some of these things, we as rights group, we are also going to challenge it in a court of competent jurisdiction, because what is happening in Rivers State has never happened anywhere in the history of this country, and it is a complete desecration of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we cannot fold our hands and watch such things thrive as it.
All right, you just listened to one of the civil society organization leaders giving a press conference asking Governor Simlai Fubara of Rivers State to watch his back, stating that they may sue him to court if he decides to continue with the panel of inquiry he set up to inquire against Nyesom Wike's administration. Of course, his name is Gabriel Umwabu, and he is one of the speakers or members of the Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Let's head on into a news analysis segment where I have right here in the studio Mr. Peter Anosike. Peter Anosike is a political, national and social affairs commentator, an economic strategist and author of one of the best-selling books in Africa. Mr. Peter Anosike, good evening and welcome to the World News at 6.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for joining me. I'm going to start off, of course, with the whole Wike Fubara feud. Now, we all know what has been going on recently in Rivers State. There was a time where we saw a report where Nyesom Wike said that once he steps out from, becoming, or steps down from being the governor of Rivers State as he got his new appointment, he was never going to get himself involved in anything that has to do with Rivers State politics. However, ever since Governor Simlai Fubara has been declared the winner, it's been one tussle or the other, with the pro-Wike lawmakers, the defection, the brazen attempt by some members to, deregulate, go ahead with imposing laws without the attendance of Governor Fubara, signing the 8-point resolution, and now Nyesom Wike risking a contempt of court because he refused to go according to a court order. This was about last week, and now there is a tendency that Fubara may risk a jail term. According to the civil society organization, they say that if Fubara doesn't stop this panel of inquiry against Nyesom Wike, they would sue him to court, and they're asking, or rather stating, that he lacks the jurisdictional powers to do some of the things he's doing. Mr. Anosike, I need your candid take on this development.
Well, for me, starting from Nyesom Wike, Wike speaks from both sides of the mouth. Before the election, he said that he's not looking for any ministerial
appointment.
job. He said so, that he's not looking for any ministerial appointment. He also said that once he finishes his tenure, he has nothing to do with the person that succeeds him.
Okay.
The same Wike again said that he will not lose his political base. Understand me?
Yes.
So he speaks from both sides of the mouth. Then for the so-called civil society organization, these are a few hungry people that are looking for handouts from Nyesom Wike.
Okay.
They are just a few, people that get themselves together, find a name just to be exploiting politicians. So what they are saying, the governor has every right to probe his predecessor.
Okay.
The governor has every right to probe his predecessor. And next week he is doing that's the same thing now. That's why he discovered that 10 billion naira that was appropriated for airport that wasn't built.
Okay.
In Kaduna State, the same thing is happening now. So every governor had that right to probe his their predecessor. So what he's doing is not out of the book.
Okay. All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, let's come to the subject matter here that is a cause for concern for a lot of Nigerians and even Rivers State indigents. Is Nyesom Wike above the law? Is he above the 1999 Constitution as amended? What is anyone afraid of in telling Nyesom Wike to step aside and allow Fubara do what needs to be done? Now, there is this the relationship they both had. Agreed, they had a relationship, and that's why Governor Fubara was fielded as the political flag bearer for the PDP in Rivers State. Nyesom Wike handed over the state, was able to deliver the state for the APC. Now, he thought that he would have Governor Fubara as a political godson, just like Usman is to ex-Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, but that did not turn up. Now we have been seeing a lot of back and forth. Jonathan had to come in yesterday, organize a press conference, and specifically mentioned Nyesom Wike and Fubara, telling them to shake hands. Otherwise, it will not go well for the people of Rivers. So the question is, who is afraid of Nyesom Wike by asking him to step aside? Can't the president this time around categorically, without having to be diplomatic in his response, say, Nyesom Wike, I need you to allow this man govern the state for rule and order to prevail? What does Nyesom Wike have in his trunches, in his coast, or in his sleeve against the president or any of his supporters and loyalists, causing the political destabilization in Rivers State?
No, Wike is on a mission. Wike is on a mission for Tinubu and APC. Rivers State is very, very important for APC. 2027 election is around the corner, and one of Wike's agenda is to destroy APC, to destroy PDP.
So is all of this mechanism to destabilize the political atmosphere of Rivers State deliberate to weaken the state ahead of 2027?
It is to weaken, it is to win Rivers State for APC and then to destroy PDP so that there wouldn't be opposition in 2027.
Why has the PDP been quiet? If this is the mechanism, if this is the agenda, which to a couple of analysts like yourself and political stalwarts, it's obvious. What is the PDP doing about it?
Well, for me, I don't know, because PDP to me appeared as so weak.
Okay.
Understand? They should be hitting hard like when the APC was in opposition.
Okay.
This is what I expected them to be doing, but they are not doing it. And why Tinubu is not cautioning Wike, because Wike is on an assignment for him. Right. So he cannot caution him, understand? Because there's an agenda. He's to weaken PDP, which they have lost that the first battle, which is to introduce a faction, which would have occurred if the PDP people during their convention has insisted for another national chairman.
All right.
Because the Damagun would have also remained as a factional national chairman, but that thing didn't work.
Okay.
So he is on assignment, and that's the reason why he is still having his way.
Okay. All right. There's a supposed good news, because new pro-Fubara commissioners were sworn in today. So we would say possibly that the stance of Fubara in Rivers State is holding sway, is taking root. But let's look at where the court actually plays a crucial role in resolving the imbroglio in Rivers State. I recall last week, I don't know if it was you that was on this particular platform, I was asking a question where INEC eventually broke its silence on the imbroglio between Inyesom Wike and Fubara concerning the 27 defected lawmakers. INEC said that right now they are waiting for the court, that they have a lot of cases. It is not their business to interfere in whatever political machinations or crisis going on between these two political individuals, but they're waiting for the court to give them an order. While they wait for the court before they can go ahead to do anything, you remember that people have been asking if these members are floating, these 27 defected lawmakers are floating, why has INEC not conducted fresh elections for those vacant seats? And INEC had responded in that regard by saying they're waiting for the court. So is the court deliberately delaying? What is the court waiting for to pass its judgment that those lawmakers who defected constitutionally do not have any role to continue to parade themselves as lawmakers in that state, and for INEC to conduct fresh elections? Well,
Section 109 of the Nigerian Constitution did not say that INEC should wait until court gives them order.
Okay.
It is expressly put that if you defect to another party, you have lost your mandate.
Okay.
That's what the Section 109 of the Constitution said. So I don't know, but I don't know why INEC is still waiting. For me, those 27 lawmakers are impostors in Rivers State.
Okay.
The vote is not transferable from one party, from party A to party B. So INEC, if they are complicit in this issue, they will have told them that they should give a date for a fresh election to be conducted for those 27 constituencies, because going from the point of no, those 27 vacant positions
seats, yes,
are
vacant.
So saying that waiting for the court, and the court in Rivers State has given that order, barring them from parading themselves as lawmakers.
What I'm asking is, when will the court send its order or whatever conclusion, if they place the gavel down to INEC to say, okay, I think it's time for you to conduct fresh elections? That's what INEC is clarifying, is it's not within their jurisdiction to actually say, oh, these seats are vacant. We're waiting for the court order to say, indeed, these seats are vacant. Until then, they cannot ask or conduct any fresh elections for those vacant seats.
For me, what I expected the PDP to do is to ask for the CTC that's of that judgment. Now take it to INEC.
Okay.
This is the decision that the High Court in Port Harcourt has made.
Okay.
Then with this, INEC can now. So for me, I don't really understand what PDP is. They are not being proactive at all.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, this particular civil society organization led by Gabriel Unwabu threatening Governor Simlai Fubara to watch his back, otherwise he risks a jail term, by having to set up the panel of inquiry to investigate whatever financial malfeasance, monies that were utilized within the administration of Inyesun Wike and past River State administrators. I mean, is it unconstitutional for the governor to set up that panel? What exactly is the group afraid of that may be divulged if that panel indeed goes into the inquiry against Inyesun Wike's administration?
Well, I've not. I don't have access to Rivers account.
Okay,
but I'm sure that Simi Fubara, Simi Fubara has been the accountant general of the state since 2010.
Okay.
So, and that's about 14 years now. So he know what is going on in the account books.
All right.
And he has the right to probe his predecessor.
All right.
It is happening in the other states of the federation.
All right.
So, but for me, the so-called civil society group are a group of boys that are looking for handouts from Wike.
Now, I want to go somewhere. We had this conversation on the World News at 12. It's concerning our judicial system. Yesterday evening, Professor Chidi Odinkalo had a specific interview with one of the television presenters where they were talking about salaries given to judges. We're talking about the court welfare, and Aruwala is bowing out, and he was able to make some expositions saying categorically that politicians threaten judges and how they dispense their duty. I want you to listen to Professor Chidi Odinkalo, and then possibly you can tell me what you think about what the CJN said just yesterday.
Politicians is increasingly residing in the hands of judiciary or judges, and therefore those are the people whom they are prioritizing. This is judges and politicians involved in a quid pro quo that casualizes the people. We have to be careful about this.
So, I mean, what of the federation, the outgoing, he's just served his notice of retirement. And he was talking about, he's confessing that the system is not working. He's confessing by himself that a lot of his peers on the judiciary are destroying the credibility of the system. But under his watch as Chief Justice, the disciplinary system has collapsed. He lacks the authority to discipline anybody, and I will tell you why. He spoke, and indeed, in his own words, he now has casualized the system because he talks about crystallization and embellishment of our reputation. That's what he was saying. How do you embellish judicial reputation? You don't, because the judiciary should conserve its authority and dignity with a lot of rigor and deliberation. We don't need to embellish it. It speaks for itself. But it can no longer do so, and therefore the Chief Justice is using a public forum to invite us to embellish their reputation. Why is he doing so? He has appointed his son a judge. He has appointed his sister-in-law a judge. He is going to Shein to get the auditor from his family to the NJC. Now, with all due respect, say whatever you will, my brother. A Chief Justice whose son is a judge and whose son is not performing will not be disciplined. A Chief Justice whose daughter-in-law is a judge and whose daughter-in-law is not performing will not be disciplined. A President of the Court of Appeal whose daughter has just been moved from Plateau State on a new appointment to the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory will not discipline their daughter. If you cannot discipline your own children because you did not comply with the rules, how are you going to discipline other people's children and husbands and wives? This is the problem.
But where do we go from here, Prof? I mean, we saw what
Let me finish, sir.
Yeah, we saw what.
Finish.
All right. Right.
Under this current Chief Justice, the judiciary has destroyed its own credibility. And I will name him. Olukayode Ariwola needs to be held accountable for what is happening under his watch.
Now, this was a recent interview conducted yesterday evening with Seun Okinbaloye, where Professor Chidi Odinkalo was talking about the Nigerian Judicial Council under the leadership of Ariwola. Meanwhile, Ariwola revealed that some politicians and other political stakeholders go as far as threatening judges over their cases in court in order to have favorable judgments. What would you say about this kind of exposition?
Well, for me, Ariwola himself is a politician. Ariwola himself is even worse than the person he succeeded, being Tanko. In the 80s, Tanko Mohammed, Ariwola just brought the judiciary to the pedestal. In the 80s, I know of a judge in front of his house. There's an inscription there: visitors are not allowed. Understand? You don't see them.
Okay.
You don't see, but you see Ariwola going from one party to the other. That's how they get compromised.
But he expressed the attention and emotions attached to political matters in Nigeria, which of course brings the example of the situation in Rivers. He said it makes the work for judges more excruciating, painstaking, and sometimes endangering. Could this be the reason why the legal matter, especially as regards those 27 defected lawmakers in Rivers State, is being, held at bay, whereby an accelerated judgment has not been carried out, or there is a delay in that, possibly there is some political interference? Could this be with what did CJN just disclose?
For me, naturally, there will always be political interference. There will always be interest.
All right.
But judges are not supposed to be friends with the public. They're supposed to be in a world of their own.
Do you know what it means for him to express this, to divulge this, that these judges are being threatened by politicians? That means that sometimes the judges cannot independently, autonomously, based on evidence presented, to make an incredible or a creditable judgment on any case. Especially it is about who pays more and possibly they threaten their family. Do you know what this has exposed?
That's what we witnessed in 2023 general elections. We observed that judges were reading prepared statements which they did not even write. We observed that judgments are no longer being passed based on the evidence before the court.
Okay.
So, and this happened under Justice Kayode Ariwola. So he has no excuse. He helped in messing up of the Nigeria justice system. So he is.
So are you saying his defense does not hold water?
It doesn't hold water. He doesn't. He is complicit. Very complicit.
Mr. Peter Anosike, I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to share your perspective on the World News at 6. I sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you so much.
All right, and now to wrap up, here again are the top stories. ASU protest rocks Unijust amidst impending nationwide strike. DSS lauds President Tinubu's administration on security. Labour Party supporters storm party secretariat in Abuja. Peter Obi speaks on Nigeria's survival, not on 2027 elections. And new Fubara commissioners were sworn in today. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Onwachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.